Chapter 7 D-Day +2 0305. The constabulary of Sadie would receive several calls from concerned citizens about the explosions and gunfire at the border near the entertainment district. The duty officer looked at his map and asked the people, one call after another in short succession, where exactly it was coming from. They told him. This confused the duty officer, as it was a small holding owned by an off-world firm, currently under the protection of their own assets on permanent posting to Mar Nosso, all cleared and above board. The duty officer then called his boss. Not the chief of police, but his real boss, a mid-level enforcer for the Gruschicki, whom he was only permitted to refer to by his rank, colonel, who confirmed that it had nothing to do with them. "Okay then," the officer said to himself, closing the daily occurrence book without an entry for the last few minutes. No mafia, outside of Mar Nosso territory. That had corporate business written all over it. "I'm not touching that," he said to himself, and went back to playing solitaire at the night desk. "I know where I'd be if I were him," Gus thought as the pair stalked downstairs and unlocked the deadbolt on the front door. Anna and Marco moved in, accompanied by a serious-looking Segno Grau, who closed the door behind them. A quick scan revealed to Gus that Grau had also brought the van in via the vehicle gate Anna or Marco had opened for him, and it was idling now, faced towards the exit for a quick extraction. "Sit rep," Anna said quietly. 3 enemy dead. Target on site but unaccounted for. Building not cleared. Anna nodded before replying. "Compound is clear. Nothing useful apart from the truck. We got the keys from the guy outside, pulled it across to block the entrance. Nobody is following us up without us knowing about it. Hopefully," she didn't add. "Any ideas where our target might be hiding? They would have to clear every room to be thorough regardless, but securing the target was priority." "From what we know about him," Valka piped up, "he's probably stone drunk in the basement." Anna nodded again and looked to the others for input. Gus shrugged. Marco nodded to Valka. "Okay, Louis," the leader said, using Valka's first name. They both paused. "Only people I hate call me by my first name. Also, it's weird." She raised an eyebrow at the big man. "Seriously, look at me and say it again." "Louis." It did not suit him at all. "Oh, you're right, that's creepy. Anyway, Valka, it's your idea. You lead the way. Find us a basement." "Found him," Valka exclaimed, yelling back up the tight stairwell as he cleared the threshold of the basement, going left as Gus went right, sweeping his sector and settling his rifle barrel on the dishevelled view before them. In the far corner of the room, about 10 by 12 yards, partially obscured by shelves of neatly stacked supplies of booze and food, sat Arturo Nemi. He was still in his underpants, on a comfy-looking armchair, surrounded by discarded empty bottles of assorted alcohol, which filled the small table set up by him for that very purpose, and food wrappers lay about the room where he'd evidently thrown them. To the opposite side of him, the bare concrete wall of the room was pocked with soot stains, and a pile of cigarette butts had accumulated where the man had simply put them out against the wall and dropped them. Gus and Valka threaded through the room, hyper-aware of potential threats, as Anna and Marco followed behind, covering the side and rear arcs. They'd left Grau upstairs to avoid any potentially destructive variables, and for once he didn't protest. Embedded in the wall, seemingly a new installation based on the colour of the concrete compared to its surroundings, was an expensive-looking vid screen flanked by a suite of speakers that surrounded Nemi's chair from various points in the ceiling. It was from this screen that the only light was found. A muted 24-hour news channel, ticker tapes and stern presenters voiced the flavours of the day in silence as Nemi snoozed quietly, looking every inch the defeated old man as his chest gently rose and fell. Gus gave Valka a questioning look, barely able to believe that this was one of the much-hated Brigadors, up close and in the flesh. He just looked sad. Valka remained out of arm's distance, shotgun trained on Nemi's head, as Gus stepped close and prodded the man's pate with the cold barrel of his Obres. Indeed, the whole room was cold, Underground bare concrete seemed to just suck the heat out of a space, and Gus's breath was close to freezing in his balaclava as he wakened the old man. How the hell can he sleep in this? "Arturo Nemi," he said in his best authoritative NCO voice, a sound that boomed in this quiet place. The target woke with a start, looking around wildly in blind panic before settling unnaturally still, regarding the intruders with exaggerated, stilted movements. Gus moved back out of grabbing range and motioned for Nemi to stay exactly where he was. "We're here to make you pay for the crimes committed on Solo Nobre in your role as a Brigador," said Anna, taking care not to cross Valka's gun as she moved directly in front of the target. Nemi blinked once, slowly, eyes welling with tears. He looked as though he was tensing every muscle in his old man's body at once, trying desperately not to launch into action. "Okay," he said simply. "We're going to kill you," Anna continued, calmly as she could. "There's nothing you can do about that. All you control at this point is how much you suffer before it's done." Another slow blink. "Okay," he said. "To make it quick, we need information. Anything you have on other Brigadors. Names, locations, strengths of local entourages. Everything you have." Nemi allowed himself, or something allowed him, a small smile. "Okay, I can think of a couple. Just tell me one thing. Was it Grau?" Anna nodded. Another small smile from the Brigador. "Figures." A tear ran down his face, at odds with his speech and demeanour. He did not wipe it away. He simply sat still, looking like he was about to explode into violence. Then he told them what they wanted to know. 2 names. Olu Salazar, enjoying the full benefits of SNC celebrity status in the festival village, always granted Faber Security Group protection and loving retirement, according to Nemi. The second name was one the team recognized from their short time at Central before deployment. Aline Vocc, the princess, heir to her family throne, as violent and sadistic as one would expect of the daughter of the leader of the most brutal of all the Spacer clans, or Clades as they called themselves. She was up north, other side of the city, doing whatever it was that Spacers do when stuck on a planet among the Dirt Eaters. After Nemi had relayed the information, a little too easily in Gus's opinion, Marco quietly left the room, presumably to relay the information to Grau. Anna addressed the target. "Thank you for making this easy and being professional about it. It could have been a lot worse for everyone." "Okay," Nemi said, a tremor in his voice. "Time to wrap this up," Anna said, pointing her newly procured pistol at Nemi's head. "No, fuck that," Gus blurted out. "I need to know. Why here? What are you doing? How did Grau know where you were?" Nemi turned his head slightly to regard Gus with evident difficulty. Anna let him speak. "I bought this place with my earnings," he said stiffly, the strain coming through his voice. "I chose the location because of its isolation, and the security were to ensure I got left alone." A jerky sweep of his arm encompassed the dark basement. "To drink myself to death." He slumped back into his chair, seemingly exhausted by the entire exchange. "Grau knows because I told him. This was planned before I left Solo Nobre. I just wanted to disappear, and you ruined that." "Well, you blew up our city and murdered a ton of people," Anna jumped in full of venom. "So don't expect us to feel sorry for you." "I don't." The words barely audible through the effort taken to speak them. "I accept my fate." "Good," Anna began to say, raising her pistol to aim at Nemi's face. "But it," he continued, oblivious to the threat, "it We'll fight you. He lunged, far faster than an old drunk had any right to, out of his seat, hands grasping for Anna's throat. 3 weapons boomed almost simultaneously, overlapping reports deafening, and the ruined corpse blasted back into his chair, knocking the table of bottles over with a clatter as limbs flailed. He expired with a sigh, blood and viscera splattered and dripping from 3 different wounds, but despite this, his body looked peaceful. "What the fuck was that about?" yelled Gus over the ringing in his ears. "Who cares?" Anna responded curtly. "Let's bug out before security forces come crashing down on us. We'll do a quick sweep for ammo and supplies. Valka, rip that vid screen from the wall and bring it with us. I'll have Grau bring the truck." She glanced at her watch. "We want to be moving in 5 minutes." She got a couple of grunts in acknowledgement and the team moved, leaving the semi-naked body sprawled in a pool of its own guts. The short drive back to the patrol base was uneventful. The recce men tried to put in a couple of anti-surveillance measures, like doubling back on your route, boxing round a block, etc., but it is hard to do effectively when your destination is under a mile to the west on a straight road. Along the strip of no man's land that separated the colonies, early morning stirrings were afoot. Several longshoremen were already milling about, gathering in their shifts before jumping in group transport to shuttle down to the docks. But other than a few odd glances their way, nobody followed Team Pilgrim. This bothered Gus immensely as the van and truck manoeuvred, parking shotgun in the warehouse that was their temporary home. Back in Solo Nobre, any kind of violence would have been met with swift and decisive force, be it from the local police force, or, more likely, whatever duty garrison was nearest the incident. The seeming indifference to gunfire and murder at Sadie was disturbing on a deep level, but he couldn't quite articulate why. He was sure it meant danger. Bring it on. During the drive back in the minibus, Anna had gone through a hot debrief so they could rest up and focus on the next task. Everybody recognized the sloppy nature of the op. A recce insertion into an unknown OP location in potentially hostile territory was not ideal, but everyone agreed that a certain element of slack was expected with such a quick turnover. Marco said that the pair had done good, which Gus appreciated immensely. Upon return, the team reset gear, and Marco added the new weapons they'd taken from Nemi's compound to their inventory. 4 pistols, 3 short-barreled assault rifles with collapsible stocks, 1 submachine gun with sliding stock, 8 fragmentation grenades, 1,600 rounds of 8mm, 1,600 rounds of 9mm, and an assortment of magazines and chest rigs to carry it all. Gus and Valka claimed assault rifles. They were old, blocky things, but well maintained, and the 2 took a chest rig each. The rigs were old, sturdy pre-shrunk canvas, and could snugly fit 6 rifle mags, 2 grenades, and assorted small items in the utility pouches. The pair of battle buddies fitted each other up, each man taking turns to tighten and tape down loose straps, so the rig sat comfortably over the low-profile soft armour vests sourced by the team's resident mercenary traitor in his latest jaunt outside the wire. In addition to that, Grau had taken the van into Sadie whilst the OP was in place and worked his magic, securing basically everything from the team wish list, barring weapons, though he insisted he had a contact in the works for that. "This one will be a doozy," he said, looking thoroughly pleased with himself. Crucially, Grau had somehow sourced a series of refugee day passes, cards with several days' worth of stamps to coincide with the correct amount of time the team had been on the ground, and their designated spots in the refugee camp, the same camp they'd never set foot in. He'd bought iron and steel bar for fabrication, and the MIG/oxyacetylene setups to weld with from the docks. Anna and Marco were both accomplished welders, Marco seemingly good at everything, and Anna a seasoned MOG driver used to effecting her own repairs, and the pair were set on fortifying the patrol base with bars on the windows and some simple traps in the blind spots. Grau had also sourced various knives and hand tools, from wrenches to secateurs, for whatever was deemed necessary, including a job lot of small flashlights, 2 of which were immediately taped to Gus and Valka's rifles. Next up, he provided a box-set-style radio, ex-military surplus but very old, for comms with other teams, the nature of which he kept very close to his chest for now. Valka helped him set this up, along with the vidscreen in the ops room, with their new TV displaying news non-stop to keep them appraised of whatever might be happening in the city. Finally, Grau had managed to find some gas stoves and small tanks to go with them so they could cook real food. Valka was most pleased with this and gave the ex-Corvid a pat on the back which made him flinch. After all necessary post-op admin was done, Anna allowed the team to sleep till early afternoon in order to keep the guys fresh for the following operation.